I'm Mariella Yamashita with the Polk County Library System, and September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. So we thought it would be a good time to come talk about our efforts to promote literacy in Polk County. The library system has 4 libraries. We have the headquarters here in Russellville, and then we also have branches in Atkins, Dover, and Hector, as well as our moving bookmobile. And today, I'm going to ask our children's librarian, Emily Whitbeck, here in Russellville, to tell us what brought her to our library system and explain some of the ways all of our libraries foster childhood literacy and why that's so important.
Well, I've always loved stories and libraries. I was an avid story time goer when I was really little. It was one of my favorite things. And then I have really fond memories of the summer reading program when I was in middle school. And then I really liked going to the library in high school and college. So being at the Polk County Library really gives me the opportunity to share my love of stories and libraries. So it's just a really good, fun fit for me. And the library has so much to offer. We have a lot of great programs that foster early literacy, like Storytime, my all-time favorite, and the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. That's a nationwide program, and it is a really big helpful tool for when you're trying to develop early literacy skills. And early literacy, that's just like preparing to learn to read. So things like print awareness, how does a book work? Is this upside down? How to look left to right? Alphabet, knowing your alphabet, letter awareness, as well as phonological awareness, just picking apart that there are different sounds and different letters.
So, Emily, can you talk a little bit about the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten? How is that set up?
So, when you sign up for the program, we're going to give you a packet, and this packet has all of the instructions as well as a reading log. And this reading log has 100 spaces, and you'll get 10 of them. So every time that you read a book to your child, or maybe their older sibling reads a book to them, they can color in one of the little spaces. And once you reach 100, then you'll bring that log back to the library, and it gets really fun because then you get a prize from the treasure chest, and you get your name put up on the wall. And I know 1,000 books before kindergarten sounds very intimidating, but it's actually like really doable.
Well, and you can count the same book over and over because young children like to hear the same stories over and over. They'll have a favorite book, and that repetition of reading the same things is also helpful.
Yes, absolutely. I have parents all the time say that my kid is in a goodnight moon phase, and if I read that 10 times, can I put that down 10 times? And absolutely, you can. So that helps you get to your goal faster. And a lot of families are already in the habit of reading stories at bedtime, so just write them down, and you will be well on your way to 1,000 books, and you'll be there before you know it.
Well, and that's a program that we offer at all 4 of our branches.
Mm-hmm.
Russellville has been using it the longest, but I know that both Dover and Atkins have been working on implementing it, and I think we can do it at Hector too. I'm not sure, but then we also have this is a national program, but after you've read your 1,000 books and after you finish kindergarten, then you're done with that. So what happens next?
So we have 1,000 books beyond kindergarten. This is for kiddos kindergarten through 3rd grade, and it works the exact same way. And they'll get a reading log with 100 spaces, just like in the 1,000 Books Before program. But they have books that they can read at school that they can also count. And we still got that fun treasure chest, and their name gets put on the wall the same way. So we've got that program. We also have story time at the library. one of my favorites. Once again, it is so much fun. I really love story time. We read books, we sing songs, we count, we talk about colors and letters, and you get to practice kindergarten readiness, how to hold scissors, how to interact with a group of your peers. So story time is a good time. Highly recommend if you've got preschool aged kiddos. We also have a new program. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, the Star Reader program. It's for kiddos a little older than your Storytime crowd, so kindergarten through about second grade. We watch a video of a star, so whether that be an actor, an author, or an astronaut. We watch a video of them reading a book. Then we discuss basic literary terms like character, plot, settings, and then we do a fun little activity. So it's like your first book club kind of experience.
And how often will that meet? What day of the week is it? And just tell us a little bit more of those details.
Yeah, it's going to be the third Monday of every month at 4 o'clock. And
At the Polk County Library?
Yes, ma'am, at the Polk County Library.
And I believe Atkins is also starting a once a month after school story time.
That's awesome.
But it may be a little different.
Yeah. And one more fun and exciting thing about the Star Readers program, we have another reading program we'll talk about a little later, I'm sure, called Reading Dragons. And so every time you come to the Star Readers Book Club, we'll make a note of it. And when you come 2 times, you'll get your first evolution of Wishing Star. She's very cute. And we'll build on that. If you come another 2 times, you'll get another evolution until you get the full collection. So,
well, that is a nice launch to kick it over to Morgan, who is our new young adult librarian, and she is launching this month a special literacy program for all ages here at the Polk County Library.
So I've been with the library for a bit. You may know me more from the genealogy department, where I have been for 4 years. But before that, I was the young adult assistant for about 7 months. But I am back in young adult, and now that I'm there, I have the Reading Dragons program. It is for all ages. So at first you're going to look at it and you're going to go, oh, that's great for my kids, and that's it. But no, this is perfect for everybody. This goes with the push of reading all year round. We have our summer reading program. We want kids to read when they're out of school. We want adults to read. And then we stop. But we're a library. We want you to read all the time. So this takes you from, let me unfold it here, September to April. We ask you to read 8 hours each month. So that's 2 hours every week. And if you do that, you can get, your first time you come in, 3 starter cards and a card. So I brought my favorite card. This is Starry. Starry is based on Starry Night. It has 2 cards with it, or you could get a card like Char. Char only has 1 card. Just because it has 1 card does not make it any better or any worse. The person who designed it just did not make any more evolutions of it. If you are a fan of Pokemon, which happens to be turning 30 next year,
Oh, wow.
this can be in your wheelhouse. You collect them all. But I have 40 cards in my box and you cannot collect them all. That was on purpose because you may not like something that I have. You don't have to get it. Then we have specials for the month. This is October's special called Night Weaver. It's very Halloween-y. And this is to encourage you to read and collect all these cards. But you can do it as a family, because what does your kid want to do more than to beat you and be better? You can do this as a family. And you'll notice on the bottom corner, they have little emblems, because in the top corner, this one's red. It's a fire one. And fire beats leaf, which beats water, which beats fire. It's basically rock, paper, scissors, and you can play games. and then again, your kid can beat you. If your kid is doing this with friends, they collect cards, their friends collect cards, and they're playing games. If your kid wants to beat you in reading, they start with their homework reading because, of course, they always have to read for homework. But if they're behind, they're going to pick up a recreational book because they have more that they have to read. And eventually they hopefully transition to, well, I don't want to have to go in the position of not having done all my reading. I want to get all my cards. I'm going to pick up the recreational book first and read that so that I get all my reading done at the beginning of the month.
So the cards are incentive to get the kids to get anyone to engage, and then they also can play games, so that kind of further
Yes.
takes it further out.
Another cool thing is that on the back of this, it has CYO. This is color your own, which means you can get basically blanks for the griffin, the dragon, the Cerberus, the Sphinx. There are 8 different creatures. I don't remember them all the time. And make a card of your own. And then in May, we're going to collect submissions from people so that our library patrons during our summer reading next year can vote on their favorite for each category, and I will make it into a card for the winner and put it into the national compendium because this is actually a national program, and it will be a representative of our library.
You've done designing for some of the cards now, and so did you and Emily work on this Star Readers together? And then tell us a little bit. Homeschool has
okay.
a card too.
So the Star Readers card was one of the base cards that they already have. The homeschool community, they wanted basically a mascot. So I took the blank moth card that is available and did its coloring, added initials to it, and made it so that it represents our homeschool community. It's called HC, whatever you want to make those HC stand for. I like Homer Charles personally. And it's going to be an evolution for their programming as a card. I have also designed an Arkansas cryptid for our genealogy department for one of their Halloween programs. And like I said, the Frank card, that one I have designed. But since it is a new program, I haven't really done much more. But you can start from the base templates, or you can go completely your own creature.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you have a lot of enthusiasm for this project, and tell us how many reading trackers you've passed out so far.
So I know I've printed at least between 160, 180. I had to print 20 more today because we were almost out at the library. Not all of those have gone out, but as of today, we've had 21 people come back and get their starter cards.
And it's been all ages, too.
Yes, I have had adults with no children at all who are absolutely enthusiastic come back. I've had adults who they watched their kids do it, and their kids were so enthusiastic, and they're like, okay, you know what, this is something I want to do too. So when their kids come back with the second line or the third or fourth, but they're coming back the second time, their parents come back with their own tracker filled out and like, hey, I would like to get my cards now too because this is actually really cool. I like the cards. I want to do this. And I've also had kids who are not being pushed by mom or dad who come up and do it every week, coming up to me and like, okay, I'm ready for my next card because I have done my reading. I want that card that I did not get last week, and I need it now. Thank you.
Well, and also you have tween and teen game nights coming up, and collecting these cards, they can be used at some of the game nights too. Is that right?
Yes. So we have the basic rock, paper, scissors, which is on every card, but there are rules for war. You can do, like, if you collected enough, you could do like Old Maid. Basically, you can play with these cards however you want.
Well, we're really excited to launch this program, and we're hoping that there's enough response to it that it will also, the branches can pick it up too, and then maybe we can have some competitions between the different libraries.
Yes, right now it's just at Russellville. We're kind of the pilot program, but hopefully if enough people are interested, they'll be able to go to all of the branches and have this as something that everybody is doing.
Well, thank you, Morgan. I'd like to move on now. to Meredith Martin Moats, who is one of our literacy partners. We've been working pretty closely lately with the River Valley Adult Learning Alliance, and she's got information about a number of programs to promote literacy that we're going to collaborate on.
Yeah, so the Learning Alliance, you might know it as the Literacy Council. A lot of people are familiar with that name. We're basically the new version of the Literacy Council, and we work with adults with pretty much any kind of literacy goal or learning goal that they might have. We tend to define literacy not as just this idea of reading words on a page, but using that information to better your life, your family, and your community. So like, how do you take knowledge in and then do something with it? That's kind of our mission. And so, yeah, we're working with Pope County Library on the driver's ed classes. So this little fancy manual. So if you need to get your driver's license, if you know someone who needs to get their driver's license, we have study groups that are led by Mike, who's an AmeriCorps member with us. And he will help you get through the study manual and then help you take practice tests. That way you know that you're ready to go ahead and take the driver's test. So you'll take a series of practice tests. Once it's clear that you're ready to knock it out of the park, then you will go and take your test, and then you'll get your written driver's permit. We don't do anything with the actual driving portion. Not enough insurance in the world for that, I don't guess. But we do focus on the writing. And to do that, you need to sign up online. There's a link online, correct?
You can go to our online calendar. It'll show on Mondays and Wednesdays that we have the written driver's license test class. You click on whatever day it is. It opens up a week ahead. You click on that and click register. And anyone 13 and older can register for that class.
And the easiest way to get to our online calendar is just go to our website. It's popelibrary.org, and we have a feed to our calendar, and you can look at it, or you can type in a search for driver's license and find it that way. Meredith, one of the things I did want to emphasize here is the way this ties in with literacy, because if you can't read the manual, that makes it really hard for you to, then take not only to pass the test, but even to read the test.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think one of the things that we've seen with people, when we first piloted this class in Dardanelle, we would often see people who'd be like, well, I've taken the test like 4 or 5 times and I keep failing. And one of the things is that there's certain content that they're going to have on the test every time, but they do change the wording of the question. So what you really need to come away with is a really good understanding of the content, no matter how the question gets phrased. So yes, and I think like that brings up the point that our goal and what we focus on, around 30% of people in our general region score at or below level 1 on what they call the PIOC scores, which is an international skills assessment. But what that means is that people might be able to read, like literally read the words on the page, but struggle with comprehension. So you've read it and now take it and do something with it. That's where we see a lot of struggle. And that's around 30% of people in our community that struggle either, at that level 1 line or below. And that translates into things like having a hard time passing the driver's test. It can translate into having a hard time understanding what comes home from your child's school, legal documents, medical paperwork, all kinds of things that just help you function and be, thriving in community, can really be a struggle. And so we really want to provide all kinds of points of entry for people. There's lots of reasons people struggle. A lot of times it's just a question of access. They've never had that one-on-one support. Maybe they weren't able to get the tools that they needed. So zero shame involved in that. We want to meet people where they are and help them, be able to not just read the words on the page, but take it and improve their life with it.
And actually, by coming in and studying for their driver's test, that is probably going to help improve their literacy skills, which then translates to being, they can take that skill then into other avenues. And so it helps them not for just this particular goal,
Absolutely.
but for a life skill.
Absolutely. And we have lots of tutors that can help. Like if you get done with the driver's test and you want to keep going with your reading, we will be there to help you with that, whatever that looks like. So, yes. And, one of the things with driver's lessons is considered a workforce development skill. And so there's a big push in the state right now for workforce development. But the reason we even got the idea to start doing these classes is we had been working with WIOA over at the workforce department years ago. And I was told one of the biggest barriers that they saw with young people's employment is they didn't have driver's license. That was like a huge barrier. And it was like, So that kind of led to this, long-term goal of how do we make this more accessible? Because they don't offer that in school and they don't offer it in college. You just have to find someone to help you or figure it out on your own. So so it has implications are big.
I can tell you the way that Mike teaches. He not only teaches you the information, but he teaches you just generally how to take notes, how to study, and how to take information in. So you're learning 2 skills at the same time.
Absolutely.
We're lucky to have him available.
Yes, he's amazing. And he has a long history in doing CDL and various kinds of testing like that. So he's a major asset through the AmeriCorps program.
So we also have something new that you're kicking off. It's new for us. You've been working on it in Yell County. Can you tell us a little bit about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and how we're going to partner with both them and you for that program?
I can. I brought Dolly Parton books that I had in the car. So if you're familiar with the Dolly Parton Library, it's basically you get a family gets a free book up until from birth to age 5, so you can literally enroll at the hospital right after your kid is born, and you get a book a month for 5 years if you start right in the beginning, and they're mailed to your home. And what we've been trying to do, going back to that 30% of people struggle, we've been really trying to think about, okay, how can we meet parents where they are? And one of the things that we started realizing is that kids' books, obviously they're for kids, but as a mom myself, there's so many times I've read kids' books and I'm like, I think I needed that more than the child in this picture did. So thinking about how these stories can really influence our lives. So what we do is we have once a month story time. We read one of the books from the library, and they're constantly changing. It's like a huge selection. Every year they change, and they're available in English and Spanish this year, all of them. And so we read the book with the child. We usually have a guest reader, so typically someone from the community that's sort of well known in the community, education leader, civic leader, church leader, somebody that somebody knows. They'll read the book. So for example, if I was going to read Corduroy, Jerry Donowitz just read this in Dardanelle not too long ago. Read Corduroy, and then we're gonna talk about the book with the children, and we're gonna have this handout that has questions to ask with the kids. If a child is just 1 year old, we're probably just going to be like, where do you see yellow? We're going to keep it pretty simple. But for the older kids, 4 and 5, we can be like, what was different about Corduroy? How does it feel when you feel different? Have you ever felt different from anyone else? What was that like for you?
So working on the reading comprehension.
And critical thinking skills. Because one of the things that we see with the ATLAS test, which is what the teachers in intermediate and middle school are really focusing on, is kids have to show that they have critical thinking skills. And where that starts is being able to take a book like this and then talk about what you read, right? Really digest the information. And we want to do that for the parents too, because one of the things that we've heard is, and I'm a product of this, my family was not fully literate, and my mom was the first person in our family. She took me to the library all the time. I could read before I was in kindergarten, but that was thanks to her, because she wanted to break some generational, cycles. And so if we want the kids to learn, one of the ways that we can help is to help their parents get more skills. So we're trying to help the parents understand, don't just read the book at home. Talk about the book. Take it to the next level. Don't just read it and then put it down. Have a long conversation. Bring it up 3 days later. Remember that story about Corduroy? Just keep that in their minds, right? That's how we develop these critical thinking skills. So our goal as Adult Learning Alliance is to work with the adults. And so that's really our avenue that we're looking for, is helping adults get skills so that they can read with their children.
And so we're going to start with this program in Polk County at the Atkins Library and the Dover Library. Can you explain why we're starting there?
Well, I think that they really had like some story times that had some flexibility, and so we're going to meet with during their regular story times. So they'll still have their regular story times, but once a month we'll be there, and we really also want to promote the Dolly Parton Library, and just really help people understand that this is a community investment. We want more people engaged in the Dolly Parton Library. So yeah, it'll be very interactive. Not sure if that answered your question, but
Well, I was actually thinking back to, we had a conversation about, was it third grade reading skills
I see what you're
in
saying.
the communities and
Gotcha.
and the need.
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies that have come out recently around a lot of research is done on third grade, and there's this sort of idea that if a kid's still struggling to read in third grade, then that's a pretty good indicator of their future academics, basically. So if a kid is excelling by third grade, then it's very likely that they're going to go on and excel in school for the rest of their life. If they're struggling at third grade, there really has to be an intervention at that point, or that they might struggle. And I know that when in looking at the statistics in Pope County, we had lower reading scores in Dover and in Adkins in third grade. And so, again, we often think about third grade as like, okay, we're focusing on third grade, but what leads to third grade is 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 3 years. Like, it doesn't just happen at third grade. It means that we've got something that's going on from birth to third grade. So we really want to kind of increase those reading scores in third grade. And again, my focus is on adult literacy, and I think a lot of times I love what the public schools do, and I would never discredit them. But if we really want to help the children, we can't just focus on their education during school day. We need to help their families. Like, helping an adult is helping a child. So, so that's kind of the perspective there.
Well, and I know that Kim and Maggie are both really excited to get to pilot this for Pope County, and incorporate it into what they're already doing.
Yeah.
Are there any other programs that we're partnering on that you'd like to hit on real quick?
Those are the main ones, but I will say that we're trying to get more tutors available. So like you were mentioning earlier about the driver's class, if someone wants to go on and do more one-on-one tutoring for basic literacy or GED prep or anything like that, we will work our hardest to find a tutor for you that can meet one-on-one at the library.
So that actually brings up the question, if you want to be a tutor, if you'd like to help, what should you do?
I love that question. You should call me. It's 479-310-5269. A lot of times people sometimes will be like, well, I'd like to help, but I've never taught anyone before, or I don't know, or I don't even know what a gerund and an adjective is anyway. Like, none of that stuff really matters. We will help you get trained. So much of being a tutor is being an accountability partner. It's being someone who cheers someone on throughout their process. So we'll train you, and we would love to have you tutoring, because it can really change people's lives. Also, conversation partners. If you are somebody who'd like to help an English language learner practice conversation, that's something we always need. If you're bilingual, we always need help from people who are bilingual in English and Spanish. But yeah, we'd love to have tutors. It's really rewarding, and I know if you care about people and you can show up on time, we can help you with the rest.
So come on down and help out at your library. Morgan, would you talk a little bit about the new Spanish beginners class that your department's going to offer, and that RVALA is also helping with a little bit?
So we have a new Spanish class. It's being taught by Suliana, and she's actually came to us through RVALA. She actually teaches a few other classes in the community, and our class only meets once a month. And the way she has it structured is a 12-class structure. So our class will be through a year, but the thing is, you don't have to go to every class. It's very casual. Each class is an independent unit. It's very beginner. It's very basic. Suliana speaks Spanish herself. It's one of her native languages, so she knows what she's talking about. When she introduces a word, she'll also tell you, hey, you may also hear it as this. If you are hearing Mexican Spanish. If you're hearing it from another culture, it's not just the book Spanish that you may have been used to in high school. So you can actually go out and use it in the community. Part of it is doing games and word association, and we try and send you out and say, hey, if you're going out there and you heard this word, try and hear it in the community as you're doing like your grocery shopping. Or if you get a new electronic, you may look in your booklet and it's going to have all the different languages for your stuff. Look for the words in the wild is basically what it is. We try and have activities so that you can use them in the language in different ways that you may have done in, say, if you did take the class in school. So it's more casual, but it's more learner friendly.
Well, and that makes me think too about the Pronunciator platform that's available on our website through the Arkansas Traveler database. All you have to do, it's free. You just go to the library website and you look under databases for Pronunciator, you sign up, and if you want to work on your Spanish, it does have like three different variations of Spanish, but I think there are 315 different languages that you can study. And for your English language learners, if they want to get on and really, whether it's a second language or somebody that's struggling, that's a native English speaker, you can get some supplement there through the website, through Pronunciator. And I was also thinking while we were sitting here, we were going to talk mostly about programs to promote literacy, but I was thinking about some of our books and about graphic novels. Emily or Morgan or both of you, do you want to talk a little bit about the value? Like a graphic novel just looks like a comic book, and how do those fit in with developing literacy?
That's one thing I tell parents of reluctant readers, and when kids ask, I like, another thing, when you're reading, that counts as reading. One of the statistics with graphic novels is you will find more complex words in graphic novels than you will in your average book, because they have pictures to back up what they're showing. Like your superhero graphic novels, your superhero comic books, they generally show more complex, bigger, longer words than the actual novels that you hand your kid, because they have context clues to back it up. They may have less words, but the words they're using are more complex.
And see, I didn't know that.
And then you have a story that, okay, your kid's a reluctant reader, but they can follow the story a little bit easier because they have pictures backing up what they're doing. Words are chunked up in smaller bits. They're not all stacked up on top of each other. So also if someone is, say, dyslexic, or they have a hard time following print on the page, well, the font is intentionally made easier to find because it's put on a picture. So you can't have it blend into the background. You have to be able to see it. You have to be able to read it. And that's what you get with a graphic novel. And those are for, it's kind of, think of like upgrading from picture books, where it's like, I can find the words really easy because there's pictures and you want to have the kids find the words. Well, you do that with your juvenile graphic novels. You do that with your young adult graphic novels. You have that with your adult graphic novels. So everybody can find one that's for them. They come in, love stories. They come in the Babysitter's Club. You have Nancy Drew ones. You have mysteries. You have your classic
Something for
superheroes.
everybody.
So there's ones for everyone.
Well, and Emily, do you want to piggyback on that, or if you feel like she's covered it as much as we need to, maybe you could talk a little bit about our Easy Reader collection.
Yeah, well, Morgan really hit it out of the park there. Graphic novels are totally valid and worthy of reading.
If you couldn't tell, I'm a fan. Also, another benefit is you can read them a little bit faster, so you get that gratification of finishing a book much faster than you do with your regular novel. So it's like, I read 3 books this week. Were they graphic novels? Yes, but they're still books.
That's right.
Compared to the one novel that I would have maybe finished this week. So, if you need someone who needs that incentive of being able to finish things, that's what you hand them, and then you transition them into
My son likes to read the novel and the graphic novel and then compare.
Oh, that's neat.
Because you also get, like,
thoughts about that.
I have this mental picture. Well, what did someone else imagine?
Yeah, that's what he like. He's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah.
And a
And
lot.
it-
Oh,
yeah. No, I just think it's funny. And sometimes he'll do it like 3 times. He'll like read the graphic novel, then go
Oh.
back and read the graphic novel, and then it really occupies a lot of his brain space. It's fascinating.
That is so cool. And I know a lot of graphic novels have really beautiful illustrations. I see them all the time and I'm super impressed. And I've noticed that there are a lot of the classics coming out in like a graphic novel form. So it just,
They've got where they're starting to do like plays and classics in a manga form.
Oh.
So they're starting to really be like, oh, it may be easier to understand this or take it in if we put it in another format.
yeah. And the easy readers that you were talking about, they are kind of your first experience with trying to read by yourself. So they're going to be simple text along with pictures. And there's not going to be a lot of words on the page, just going to be your first introduction to reading on your own. And then there are levels within that, so it gets more complex. A lot of the books, if you look on the spine, they'll have a 1, 2, or 3. And so as you go up in numbers, that'll indicate how difficult that the reading is going to be. We also have a branches selection, which is kind of an in-between the easy readers and your regular juvenile fiction books. So if you're not quite ready to jump from the easy reader to a juvenile fiction, the branches books are a really great way to kind of segue into that. They're super funny and super popular. Diary of a Pug, Dragon Masters, super interesting topics, and the kids love them. So there's something for
I
everybody.
admit I go to some of them sometimes because they're just really good.
Some of my favorite books ever are the Gerald and Piggy series by Mo Willems, and they were so great. I enjoyed reading them to my kids, and you can act them out. And,
Yeah,
and they
definitely.
also get into character development and social relationships and things like that too. So, is there anything else that we haven't covered that anybody wants to touch on before we say goodbye?
One thing about literacy, like Meredith's saying, it's about taking in information. It's not always about looking at words on a page. Literacy is about taking in words. So sometimes that is an audiobook. Sometimes that's an ebook. It's not just the traditional book in your hand.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that you can do, like with the audiobooks, is if somebody's struggling with reading the words on the page, if they can listen to it and follow along, that's really helpful. And we do have audiobooks at the library that you can check out, but you can also use the Libby app.
That's a suggestion I've given, is get the audiobook with Libby, get the physical book with us, and then you have the narrated and in your hand version, so someone is reading it to you if you have that trouble. And you're still reading, you're still getting information.
Right. And I believe audiobooks count for 1,000 books before kindergarten too, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So whether you're reading on the page or listening or doing both at the same time, you're still working on your reading comprehension. Well, I wanted to just really emphasize our website, because you can find our calendar there, you can find the Facebook pages, the feed for all of the different libraries. You don't have to even sign in at popelibrary.org. We do have an extensive list of databases that includes Pronunciator. You can sign up for Libby. You can do family history research. So popelibrary.org is your one-stop shop. And as it is coming to the end of September and Library Card Sign-Up Month, our libraries are having a competition to see which one can sign up the most new library card holders. And the winning library will host a party for staff and supporters. So regardless of your age, this is a great time to get your first library card. And I'd like to thank the 3 of y'all for doing this with me. And maybe we'll come back and do it again some other time.
Thanks for inviting
Oh,
us.
Yeah.
and I need to thank River Valley Town Square for providing this opportunity and also for their editing expertise. So thanks to all of you, and hope you'll visit the library soon.